you've been finding that you've been playing the same old stories over and over again in your mind and feeling the same limiting emotions of fear and anxiety, and it takes a lot of willpower to get out of that loop, then this video is for you, because I'm about to share one of the most effective tools that I have used to truly release and let go of trauma. I'm Karina, and welcome to my channel where we discuss practical tools to elevate our wellness from a mind, body, soul perspective. A few years ago, I had been pretty well versed in various forms of meditation, and these would help me on the surface to recognize and then change my thought patterns. But underneath the surface, I was still experiencing a persistent level of anxiety that was related to trauma from my past, until I discovered a relatively simple but very effective tool. I had heard about EMDR in passing before, but I didn't really know what it was. And if you're not familiar with it, EMDR stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And it's a way of using movements of the eye to reduce stress around traumatic memories. It's a somatic tool. And so I kind of stumbled across my own homegrown technique that uses a similar approach, but it's something that I could do on my own, that I developed myself. And you can try this too, and it's a really effective tool. So here's how it works. Most people have a dominant eye, meaning that their brain relies on one eye over the other in order to perceive and process visual inputs. And so if we're constantly relying on one eye over the other, that's going to influence the way that our brain perceives our memories as well. But then when we consciously shift to using our non-dominant eye, that's going to change the way that we start to view our past memories. So when I started to try this out, I started to consciously use my non-dominant eye more than my dominant one. I started to see my memories with much more objectivity. They no longer upset me or left an emotional mark in the same way that they used to. I also felt like a different person almost altogether. I felt more confident and at ease. There's even research to suggest that looking with the left eye activates the right hemisphere of the brain, which is associated with the sympathetic or the fight or flight nervous system response. And looking with the right eye stimulates the left hemisphere of the brain, which is associated with the parasympathetic or the rest and digest nervous system response. So it's the opposite. It's left eye, right brain, right eye, left brain. And sure enough, my dominant eye previously had been the left eye. And so as I was continuing to look more with my left eye, I was stimulating that right hemisphere of the brain, putting myself in the sympathetic nervous system state, and I was experiencing all of this anxiety. So when I started to balance this out with using my right eye more, I began to activate the left hemisphere of the brain a little bit more, and that allowed me to get more into the parasympathetic rest and digest nervous system response. I've also used this balancing out of eye dominance when I'm moving through a challenging workout as well. So I notice that when I start to use my right eye more, my body is better able to handle the stressors that are placed on it through the workout. And I'm also able to more consciously direct my movements. And all of this affects me in particular with a specific salience because I actually have double vision where my eyes don't actually track together. And that was actually how I stumbled across these practices, because I've been exposed to these types of eye exercises before. When I was 4, I had a crossed eye, and at 6 years old, I had surgery to correct that. But the consequence was that I started to have double vision. So I would go to vision therapy once a week to try to get my two eyes to converge and to work together. And as a kid, I just found this really tedious. I found the exercises tedious. We had to drive really far to get there because vision therapy wasn't that common at the time. And so I kind of just gave up, and I just said, it's okay, I'll have double vision. It's not a big deal. But then as an adult, as I realized how eye dominance actually plays a role in regulating our emotions, I had a renewed commitment to exercising both of my eyes equally. So now when I practice balancing out my eye dominance, I am both helping to correct my double vision and also regulating my emotions and my nervous system. You may or may not have double vision, but still practicing balancing out your eye dominance is going to go a long way to regulating your emotions and to helping you view memories that you may have seen as traumatic as no longer having a hold on you. So here's how you actually practice this. So first you want to figure out which of your eyes is dominant. And to do this, you can use what's called the Miles test. So you're going to take one of your hands and form a circle with your thumb and your forefinger, and you're going to place it in front of your eyes, both eyes. And then you're going to just focus your attention on an object that's far away from you. And then you're going to take the other hand, you're going to place it over one of the eyes. Do you still see the object? If you do, then that's your dominant eye. Then take that same palm, place it over the other eye. Do you still see the object? If the object disappears, that means that's your non-dominant eye. So that's how you figure out which eye is dominant and which is not. And then you're going to practice consciously shifting to using your non-dominant eye. So here's me looking with my right eye. Here's me looking more with my left eye. And so it's just a shift in focus. And you will feel when you consciously start to use your non-dominant eye that the pupil dilates a little bit because you're focusing it. And it's a muscle, so you're going to have to train it over time so that you can rely on it a little bit more. But as you start to continue looking with this non-dominant eye, you can ask yourself, what emotions are you experiencing? How are you viewing the world? And how are you viewing yourself? And feel free to journal about these questions as well to really wire them in. And I even noticed as I continued this practice that one eye would have memories that the other didn't, and vice versa. When I started to look more with my right eye, all of these memories from way back in my childhood that I hadn't thought about in years started to resurface. And when we think about the fact that our memories are reference points for our self-concept, for how we see ourselves, then as we start to integrate old memories and form new ones and new associations by shifting our eye dominance, we're also going to change our self-concept. And when we do that, when we change how we see ourselves, it becomes a lot easier to choose more beneficial and self-supporting emotions, which has huge implications for our mental health and our peace of mind. So go ahead and try out shifting your eye dominance and see what impact that has on your mindset and your emotions. Let me know in the comments how it goes for you. If you found this video valuable, feel free to give it a like. And if you want to learn about more ways to feel amazing in your mind and your body, then feel free to subscribe to this channel. Lots of love, and I'll see you soon.